Hello, everyone, and welcome to a super fun little mini episode of Titanic Legacy, a podcast that explores things and folks who create or continue to somehow keep Titanic's legacy going, alive, thriving into the future. I am joined by four very special guests today. We're going to talk about an experience that we all had, not all together, but here in Beverly Hills in Los Angeles, there is a virtual reality experience called Titanic, A Voyage Through Time. And I had the pleasure of going with I'll just introduce everybody clockwise as I'm looking at people. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us is an author of a book I very much recommend, Living the Legend, a journal of a Titanic background actress. She was a core extra on James Cameron's Titanic, and she played the unsinkable Molly Brown in Ghost of the Abyss, his follow-up. And she's joining us, Judy Prestininzi.
Hi.
Next up, clockwise, he is the host of the Witness Titanic podcast. He works with the creative team of Titanic Honor and Glory. He went on a recent expedition to Titanic where they found the Diana statue with the Titanic not historical society. I'm getting my guests mixed up, but RMS Titanic, ladies and gentlemen, James Penca. And every time I introduce him as the man who needs no introduction, Titanic legendary author and historian for the Titanic Historical Society. And he was, of course, Mr. Spedden on James Cameron's film, Don Lynch.
But we give him an introduction anyway, because why not?
And last but certainly not least, sitting next to me, actress and star of Netflix, Spy Kids Armageddon, Yes Day, The Chair, and co-star with Susan Sarandon and Aubrey Plaza on a new movie coming out in 2026 called The Accompanist. Ladies and gentlemen, Everly Carganilla.
Oh my gosh.
All right, so
Superstar.
This virtual reality experience at the Beverly Center, it's in a mall in Beverly Hills. I had the pleasure of going with Judy and Everly, and Dawn and James have both done it themselves. It was supposed to move on at the end of this year, but it's continuing through the end of February. So we just wanted to do a little talk through and review of the experience. It was my first virtual reality experience, I think, ever. How about you all?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It was my third.
Okay. Third experience, like, are we talking, James, have you done like video games or it's your third like walkthrough experience?
Sort of a mix. Well, I've done, there's a Titanic VR experience that I've seen and done. There's THG, Titanic Honor and Glory. We made one years ago that I've done. But in terms of these exhibit ones, this was my third time going to an exhibit, putting on a headset and exploring it. So yes, I've been to quite a few at this point.
All right. Well, we'll see how this one ranks when we get to the end of the conversation. But so let's just describe what it was. So we arrived and there's a little waiting area, and then we walked into the room to get our goggles. This is just a big open room in a mall. Everly, how would you describe the room?
What room?
The room the experience was in, the main room.
Oh, okay. So,
like the walls, the floor.
Oh, yeah. It was all like, it kind of looked like the screen when you do like in videos, when you do like a beep, that kind of cut. And it was just like all staticky and crazy. And there were walls and pillars and they were covered in this like staticky pattern.
It was like a patchwork almost.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And
I think it
Dazzle
was just-
paint, like in World War I. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it looks like. Yeah.
Then I almost walked into a wall once or twice, but
Yeah.
it's good.
I was looking around like and seeing the pillars in the middle of the room, wondering how are we going to be wearing goggles and not walking into walls and pillars. But then you put the headset on, and it was like I mentioned, the first time I had done anything like that. And I know, Mama Judy, you were like, please don't let go of my hand. It was very disorienting at first.
Yeah, because I have enough problems with my ankle from getting my accident, and I didn't want to fall down. And when we got on the steps, that was really weird.
Yeah,
the
you can't do
steps.
steps because
You had
the
to
floor is
climb.
level and it's weird to do steps. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I bumped into Judy at one point because we were doing the ladder and I forgot, like, you stay in one place and you just do this. And she was like up there. And so I went to go and then I bumped into her and I was like, oh yeah, I kind of forgot about that.
Oh, you're talking about
Yeah.
in the engine room. The engine
Yeah,
room.
yeah.
But let's talk about that first experience where you could like actually you put on the goggles and you could like pick up tools. Dawn,
Yeah.
how was that experience for you?
Well, it was cool. You know, I like that you could pick things up, and it's weird because what you touch, the other people, I don't want to say it, they don't share that experience, you might say. Like when you're in the stateroom, you know, there's a wardrobe room there, and yeah, I went with a friend, and he came out and he said, "There's a life jacket hanging in the wardrobe. I left the doors open." Well, I went in, the doors aren't open. You know,
Oh,
so
okay.
like when you pick up the tools, if you put them down in a different place, that's not where the next person's going to find them. They're going to find them exactly where you found them. You know, each person has the same experience beginning, but then, you know, as you move things around, they're not moved around for anyone else. And it's funny because like Everly said, when she bumped into Judy, you know, you're seeing all the Titanic 1912 people, not necessarily dressed right, which is okay. You know, I mean, that's not why we're there. But the other people participating, they sort of appear as phantoms, and your name is floating above your head. So that way, you know, if it's a member of your party or some stranger who happened to be taking the tour at the same time.
Yeah.
But when your little ghostly image, we're all skinny, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, it was nice.
Going back in time in multiple ways.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
We actually didn't have anybody, and I went with Gunter Babler, another wonderful Titanic person and author, and we were the only two people there. We went really late at night on like a Tuesday or something, so we were the only two in the whole room. So I was curious to know what it was like with strangers, because yeah, you're walking around and seeing their little avatar person, but it was just Gunter and I. We had a great time because we knew we were the only people there. Sort of like seeing a movie with just you and your friend, you know?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's cool.
Are you here in Los Angeles, James?
Yes, I live in Studio City.
Oh, okay. All right. Curious. Yeah. Because I'm sure this thing is showing in other cities. It must be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they have. So at THG, we've been keeping our eye on these VR things because there's so many of them now.
Yeah.
And obviously that's like the business that we're in. We make Titanic visuals and stuff, and we've now made a VR experience to be in RMS Titanic Incorporated exhibits. Ours, we elected to just let people sit in a chair and put on a headset and just look around because having people fall over wasn't on our in our hopes and dreams. But in a lot of these exhibits, these VR experiences, not the exhibits. Sometimes the exhibits, they hire companies to make the VR experience. So I don't want to blame the exhibits, but these VR experiences sometimes we'll say borrow from THG's work. Some more egregious than others. And so we're keeping our eye on them and seeing who's taking what, and so that's partly why I went to see this one, and happy to say this one was it seemed they certainly took inspiration from our work, which is totally fine, but it seemed it was all built from scratch, which was nice. But yes, so they're all over the country now and all over the world now. So this is definitely not the only one that people can go see.
So after you first get the chance to like get acclimated to a virtual reality, the first thing you do is you go out into this like open, I think like ice slab, and you watch as Titanic starts to approach. And that was pretty interesting as far as, you know, and I would say the graphics, we could just address the graphics very quickly. They're, I mean, not nearly Titanic at Honor and Glory. I would describe them as kind of like almost a Nintendo 64 GoldenEye.
That is exactly the era that,
Yeah.
and we should say it's really not the creator's fault. This isn't a slight on whoever made these. When you go to these virtual reality experiences, there's two kinds that you will run into. There's the kind where like the one that we are making for RMST, where you're sitting in a chair and your headset is attached to something with a cord. It's plugged into a nice computer, which will allow the graphics to be much more realistic, much more beautiful. And that's why we went that route, because our graphics are very intense, as people may know, if you've ever tried to run our projects on like a laptop. But the experience that we all went to, you were wireless, which allows you to walk around the room. And because of that, you're restricted to this thing on your face is doing all the work. The computer is on your face.
Oh.
And so the graphics have to be much more watered down. And that's why they do look like N64, 1997, maybe 2003 kind of graphics, because that's the only thing they can do. And so it's impressive to see what they do with those limitations. Okay. But to your average person, I don't think people mind that it's a little bit. But I bet kids that play video games go in there and they're like, "This looks so bad."
Yeah.
Well, I loved it, not just because obviously there were things that, like I said, like the clothing, when you're looking down at all the people on the dock, and it was thrilling to look down the entire length of the ship, but all the people on the dock are dressed like it's the 1940s. And so they've obviously just used, people or clothing or whatever they've already programmed for some other virtual reality, maybe a World War II thing. But it's the experience of it, It's the experience of knowing that nothing you're looking at is really there, and yet you're experiencing it. And that was cool. So the fact that it wasn't perfect didn't bother me at all. It was like, I'm having a great time enjoying this.
Yeah, you have to sort of forget that all the officers are wearing airline pilot uniforms.
Yeah.
That was the most jarring for me. I was like, this isn't, he's a captain of an airplane. But once you kind of, let yourself enjoy it and just experience it, it's quite fun.
Yeah. And I didn't quite understand why there were dishes of desserts laying around the bridge. It's like, why were they bringing cheesecakes and things up to the bridge for the officers?
We were eating cake when they screamed iceberg right ahead. I was like,
Well, maybe that's why it happened. They weren't paying attention. They were busy with the cheesecake.
The cheesecake is so good. So after we watch it approach, then we get put in like this tunnel and taken to the bottom of the ocean to see the wreck on the bottom of the ocean. Something Don Lynch knows a lot about. But so first you walk around the wreck on the bottom of the ocean as if you're like a giant.
Right.
That tracks for sure.
The one time that was one thing, just from like a developer standpoint. I don't know why they included that, because it never came back. Like, you got to be a giant for a couple minutes, and then that was it. Yeah. Just a kind of a random superpower to give you. But I guess they wanted you to be able to see the model in a nice way, which I guess I understand. Yeah.
And one of my favorite things came next, which was we got to cross the gangplank, put our tickets in the box. You looked down and you had a ticket in your hand, and you put it in a box and you crossed the gangway to board the ship, as Don was just saying. And then you could look out and see people waving. And I think Everly's favorite thing to do was throw champagne out the window.
They had
I did it too.
I'm sure Judy remembers, but you could pour yourself champagne, and then I took the champagne glasses and the windows were open, and I would just throw it out the window, and you could see it fall into the water, and it would actually like make a splash. And I was trying to like pour it on stuff. Like, I had it and I was trying to pour it on the record player, but I just took these glasses, I dumped it on the floor, and then threw it out the window.
Wow.
Very memorable experience for sure.
It's one of the joys of VR. To have fun with the environment.
When we went into the stateroom and you could turn the water faucets on.
Oh.
Well, like I said, I have a balance issue. I went through the sink. I almost fell down. So I had to like really stop myself because I kept going. There wasn't anything to grab.
It's such an interesting thing about virtual reality. It's just like you see it there and your hands are going forward, but it's not actually there.
I almost fell and hurt my pelvis very bad. In the stateroom, there was like a bed, I thought I forgot I couldn't sit on it.
Sit on the bed.
So I went to go sit on it, and I was like,
It was just like me at the sink. I turned the water on and I just kept going.
Well, this is like a safety warning for people to go see it.
Right.
We recommend it, but be careful. You do have to remember this is virtual reality, but it's like before you go down and descend to the wreck. It's kind of scary to be standing over a great drop, and of course it's not. It's just floor. And so, it is real in that respect. And that is, like you said, when you go to sit on the bed, that's how real it seems, so it is virtual reality.
And we mentioned the stateroom, and then I think we go into the engine room, which was really interesting. You could shovel coal into the engine with the shovels that were in there, but you could also climb ladders, which was like very disorienting, but kind of cool.
Yeah, when we were in there, I went up the ladder. It was pretty easy to do because I've played VR before and done things like that where you just got to get used. You just do this with your hands and it takes you up a ladder. But Gunter, who has never done a VR thing before, he wanted to follow me up the ladder, and I just see him going like this over there, but he couldn't go up, and he's like, I can't figure this out. And so he was yelling up to me, looking up. Because your brain just assumes, because he sees me up on the catwalk, and I'm yelling down at him, but we're standing right next to each other. Very, very goofy, very fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't get the ladder to work either. I wasn't able to climb it.
Like I was climbing, and then it would like
drop you down.
I was like, I'm actually climbing it though, guys.
The next room I think was really disorienting. The next in my memory, at least, was the grand staircase. And
we went up to the deck and we were on like.
Oh yeah, you go on the forecastle deck for a minute with all the sailors who are dressed as I was describing to Gunter. I think the deck crew was dressed more like sailors from a production of Pirates of Penzance, like a very old-fashioned French 1800s sailor with a big striped shirt coming through their collar and like pantaloons. It was very goofy. The costumes were the weirdest part of the whole experience.
I was hitting them with I think it was a broom. Like there was a broom, and I was just like.
Yeah, we were supposed to mop the decks for them.
That's right.
That's right.
I started mopping them.
But then once we got to the grand staircase,
I was like,
you need a shower.
Yeah, you smell me.
You get to actually descend the grand staircase, and there's no stairs, so that was also very disorienting.
Yeah,
I was like, oh yeah, it's flat. And she even told us at the beginning, like, if you see stairs, remember it's just flat ground. Don't try to go down. Yeah. I forgot. I was just like, oh, okay.
It was cool being in that virtual space, though, because we haven't had the experience that Dawn and Judy had of actually being on the set in on the actual grand staircase or the recreation that James Cameron made. But it was neat to be able to explore the space in a mall in Beverly Hills.
Yeah, we had a good time. It was a good day.
We went into
the dining room was pretty cool too, because the first class dining room, you can't, when you walk too far, this grid appears in front of you to stop you, but to stand there and look across the room all the way to the far side, and it did feel like being back on the movie set, because that's the only other time I've experienced a recreation of the dining room that big. And it was really nicely done. Obviously some of the table settings weren't great, that sort of thing. But the overall room really was.
Yeah, we should give the props to to whoever developed this. And I tried to figure out who this was, because it was very clear that whoever was in charge of the visuals was going as full out as they could to make it historically accurate. I think they were, of course, limited by the technology and how much detail they could put into it. But even the wreck model that you walk around as a giant at the beginning, it's really hard to make a realistic wreck model because it's so complicated. There's lots of curves and broken edges. it's much easier to make 1912 Titanic because everything's nice and straight, like a video game should be, nice and easy.
And it's frozen in time. Yeah.
Yeah. And so to make a wreck model, they were limited for sure, but I was looking at it and they really put a lot of love into it, I think. And the dining saloon is a great example. It was very clear they weren't cutting corners and avoiding making it historically accurate. I think whoever made it really wanted it to be good, which is rare, I think.
Yeah.
With so many of the new Titanic stuff that comes out, a lot of it's just a money grab.
Yeah. One of the other ones we went to, a VR that I did at a different exhibit, was the complete opposite. It was so clear that history was the last thing that they wanted to incorporate, or maybe they wanted to, and whoever was in charge was like, we need to get this out now. We need, don't put so much effort into it. No one's going to care. No one's going to care.
I would make that decision.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so many people out there that do care.
Yeah.
Like you.
So I think the next scene was probably my favorite part. Was we got to be on the bridge while there was cheesecake involved, but
no, the drawing room. We forgot.
Yeah, we went to Belfast a couple times.
They took us from the dining room. They transported us to Belfast. You're right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
The drawing room and then the gang and the slipways as well.
The writing, we were able to write on the blueprints. It was so weird. Judy and I wrote Judy and Everly with me here.
Yeah, we wrote our names.
Like,
That's great.
the writing is just like.
It was
was
you
so
could actually
hard.
use a pen in the drawing room. I remember, yeah. So then, as I was mentioning, my favorite part was being on the bridge.
Yeah.
And you actually get to be on the bridge as the iceberg approaches, which was really a wild experience.
Yeah.
It is. And one of the things about being on the bridge that I really liked, looking up at the funnel and seeing the smoke pouring out and the stars behind it. And that was really impressive. They did a really nice job with that. It may not be perfect, but you could stand on the bridge wing and look up and see the smoke coming out of the funnel and all the stars in the night. And
You
it was a
could?
spectacular view.
I wasn't looking.
Yeah, well, if you don't look up, you don't see it.
If you don't put your
can't go
cheesecake
once
down.
and see everything. You have to go back
Right.
more than once. Yeah.
Yeah.
They also let us steer the ship. You grab
yeah?
it. I bet you I could have avoided that iceberg pretty well. If I was there, I would have just been like,
Yeah. We'll see in 5 years when you're driving.
what? Yeah,
Yeah, we had a good time on the bridge, Gunter and I, because we were we knew it was coming, and then you hear the phone ring, and the officer goes over. And again, props to the people who made this, because they really put a lot of attention to detail. In they answered the phone while Murdoch runs into the wheelhouse. After the collision, Boxhall shows up. It really went in the order that we believe it went. But when the phone rang and he's iceberg right ahead, hard to starboard, and all that, Gunter and I, almost like little kids, we were like, ooh, and we ran out onto the bridge, and he ran out just as Murdoch came in the door. And for a full few seconds, I was waiting for Murdoch to get out of the way so I could go through the door as well. And I'm like, get out of the way. I want to go see the iceberg. And I realized I could just walk right through him because this isn't real.
Yeah. And did you look down and see the ice coming down onto the well deck? And it
was
disappears.
a lot. Yeah.
Once it's on the deck, it just vanishes all by itself. It was funny.
Yeah. Video games are funny like that.
We were wondering what would happen next as far as the sinking went.
Can I have something to say.
Oh, okay.
Let's hear it.
I was so excited, and it really was a fun experience, but I was excited for the sinking only to find out I was on a lifeboat.
I'm with you 100%.
Thank you.
That was my biggest complaint was when we got to the bridge. Leading up to the bridge, I was thinking, this is a really long experience because we're not even at the iceberg collision yet. And I know we were in the cabin and we saw the life jacket in the closet, like Don said. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, there's going to be the collision. Maybe we'll go back to our cabin, get our life jacket. Maybe they'll give us one scene on deck where we get in a lifeboat. The easiest thing in the world is let us go down in the lifeboat and see the plates of the ship go by, and stuff like that. But you cut from the bridge right to the lifeboat in the last moments, and I thought, oh, that explains why this is so long. we're already at the end. It was a bit of a disappointment. I could have used just one scene while the ship was sinking.
I could have
Yeah.
used like an extra hour.
Yeah.
Like I thought I didn't think it would be guided. I thought you could just, okay, kids, go have fun. I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
take
Oh,
a
yeah.
nap. And you could just explore the ship, and then when you collide with it, then you have to go do everything everybody else had to do, and then you had to go get your life jacket. And I thought I was actually going to be on the ship when it was sinking. And I was complaining about this. I was like, I wanted to be on the ship when it was sinking.
Yeah.
Well, I think, James, you explained why, because they can't do things where there's a lot of people
Yeah.
because you're going to, in theory, you should bump into them, and instead you'll be walking through them, and that'll sort of destroy the reality of it.
Right.
Yeah.
And anybody who's made a video game before or works on one, water is one of the most notoriously hard things. The two things in the video game world that are to be avoided at all costs: water and people, like human beings. There's so much. It's so hard to make a human that looks convincing.
Yes.
As anybody who will watch The Polar Express recently,
Oh.
the older that movie gets, the more awkward the people look, because we're being trained to expect a higher level of detail. Water is so hard to recreate. Even the great video game companies, if you go over to a river in a video game that's, the big video games, the river still looks kind of unrealistic because, water's so difficult. So I wasn't surprised that it jumped right to the lifeboat, because making a ship sink, as the people at Honor and Glory know more than anybody, making a ship sink is really hard. So
That guy in the lifeboat was not okay.
There was a random
He was like,
there was a random man having a tough time.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
So it was a jarring transition from the iceberg scene to the lifeboat, and I believe, if I remember correctly, they did like they honored some people.
Mhm.
at
The
the
people
end?
we've been meeting,
Yes.
they honored. And the other thing is that I learned, and fortunately I didn't do it when I went back, but I was so busy looking around, I missed the moment when the ship split in two, and I was so disappointed, but it made me had to go back. So when I went back, I was with a different couple of friends, and I just said, just keep staring at the ship when we're in the lifeboat, or you're going to miss it. You can
Yeah.
look around afterwards. And so that's just with the heads up, because you don't get to do it over while you're there.
But overall experiences, ratings. James, you said this is the third one you've done. Where would you rank this one?
It is the best one that is available out there in the world at the moment. I only say that because Titanic Honor and Glory, we just developed one for RMST. There's only one location that has it right now, and it's in Poland. So if you're in Poland, you can go to ours. It's very different. You don't freely walk around a big room, so you don't get that experience of exploration. It's you sitting in a nice comfy chair with a headset, and you get toured around beautiful spaces, and you can look around. So it's a very different experience. But in terms of if you're watching this podcast, you probably care about this. If you want the historical accurate version, that's what you would go with. But if you want the amusement park fun version of it, you go to one of the other ones. But this one, of the ones that are out there, this one was far and away the best one.
And Don, you
Well, that's
mentioned
good. That's good to know.
you've been twice. What
Yes.
as the Keystone Titanic historian?
Well, like I said, don't go there looking for perfection, but if you've never done virtual reality, just the experience alone is incredible. And I wear glasses for distance, and I realized after the first time, you don't need to wear your glasses, because realistically, it's a headset. Everything's close up, even if it looks like it's far, far away. And so, then the headset really pushed them down on my nose, and my nose hurt the first time after I got out of there. And the next time it's like, I just said, I don't need to wear these because they're for distance, do I? And he's like, no, don't bother. But I really, having not done any other type of virtual reality, I really recommend it. Like I said, for the experience, it's to see what it's about and to see how it works. And even if it isn't perfect, they could have just made it some fictional ship, and it would have been exciting to walk through and see things and experience rooms that you really know aren't there, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Judy.
Yes. Well, like I said, I think I had a worry that I didn't want to fall down.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed it. Partly because I could grab you and hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I remember, like you're talking about, sitting in a chair with the goggles on. We did a Monet thing, and we kind of sat there, and the room would, you could look around the room, and yeah, this was far and above anything like that. I remember, like falling through the sink and the food, wanting to pick it up and see if we could move it and writing our names.
Yeah.
And I remember I told Don Don told me that he had gone, and he was talking about the people with the wrong clothing on, and I noticed that right away. And I said, I remember Don told me about this. And being on the bridge and seeing the iceberg and everything, the staircase, climbing that ladder, that was really weird, because I kept looking up. You want to look up at where you're going, but you're not really going. And it was just fun. It was a fun day.
Was
I had a lot on my mind too, so I would like to go and see it again.
We should all go together and do an escape room.
Yes, wait, we can do that, and then
Yeah, we'll make a day of it.
That would be fun.
The nice thing, Judy, too, is, and this is just for everybody, but, they told us at the beginning, if for any reason you're having any kind of issue, just raise your hand and one of us will come and help you, because they're keeping an eye on you. And so if you were stumbling or you look like you were getting dizzy or something, if you just raise your hand, they'll come and help you out. And so, anybody who has any maybe mobility issues or worries about that, it's safe. You're not on your own. They keep an eye on you.
I had Paul to grab hold of. I think I grabbed Everly a couple times too. But
Well,
all in all, it was an experience that I think any enthusiast would want to experience that, and to go back and see it again would be, because now we know what parts that we missed, and things that we've forgotten, and experience it all again in a different frame of mind, that you know what you're looking for.
Yeah. So if you're here in the Los Angeles area, they're booking on TitanicExperienceVR.com at least through the end of February 2026. It's pretty affordable. It's like $30 for adults, $25 for kids. Speaking of kids, as an 11-year-old, what was your experience?
I thought that was like super fun, and I would really want to go again. So guys, get tickets right now. Like, you have no excuse. Just pick up your phone or computer and get tickets right now, because it was so fun.
Got a little salesperson here.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
They should hire you.
I would be extremely happy to go again, even though it didn't end the way I thought it would. It was still like a super fun experience to share with you guys.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think the five of us should go and do the Titanic escape room at the same time, and then we'll do another review.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
I want to thank Don, James, Judy, and of course Everly for joining me on a little review, little fun episode here to review.
Yeah.
And if you're in the Los Angeles area, check out Titanic: A Voyage Through Time, and of course, be on the lookout for Titanic Weekend. Go to TitanicWeekend.com. We hope to see you on the Queen Mary in April. And thanks everybody again for joining us. We'll see you real soon.
Bye. It was fun. Thank you.